because your spread of assets would be offsetting one another. It's not only long side. What I mean by that is it's not a buy and hold strategy, which we established. It's also not somebody selling something to you, where I come along and say, this is a really great hot stock, or this is a really whatever. And you say, without any knowledge, yeah, okay, I'll buy some of that. And then you scratch your head and go, why did I buy it? What price did I buy it for? How long would I keep it? And am I going to make any money on this? It's not multiple portfolios. With multiple portfolios, you have more difficulty keeping track of what you have. It's not market timing, which means getting in and out of the market really quickly. It's also not a measure against the market. And what I mean by that is that you have mutual funds, and they say, I invest in small caps. And you say, okay. And then the small cap manager says, well, small caps were down 60% this year. And I did really well because I was only down 40%. Does that make you happy? Who came up with that concept? And worse than that, the mutual fund manager can't choose to put your money in cash. Now, what a concept. He could say, my market's down 60%. Why don't I get out of this for a while and put all these lovely people's money in cash for a period of time so that I can preserve the return on my fund to its greatest extent? Do they do that? No. Let me hear that one louder. Do they do that? No. Right. Why don't they do that? Because their mandate from you is to keep your money invested, whether it's the right place to be or not. So what I propose to you is that from now on, that you measure your portfolio against zero. Okay? Measure it against profitability. Not against 30% down is somehow okay, because these managers have told me that the market is down that low. No. That's not good for you. Investing in that fashion would be a hope and a prayer, which is what most people are doing in the markets right now. It's a hope and a prayer. Oh my God, I hope this market comes back. And the other thing I call that is passive money management. When you just park your money someplace in some accounts, that's passive money management. Now I'm going to show you something else. There are 3 stages of money. The first is acquisition. Did y'all get through that stage? Once you get through acquisition, you've got 2 other problems. You've got to protect it, and you've got to leverage it. Okay? So as you go around the board game, the first steps are the acquisition part, and then you go, oh my God, I got some money here. How am I going to grow it? How am I going to make it work for me? And there are many things that will jump up and start to nip at you as you understand the protection part. For me personally, I never expected to go through a wicked divorce. Oh my gosh. Now I have to protect my assets in ways that I never expected to. So at the same time I'm protecting it, I also have to be over here leveraging it. I think there are 18 grades. The first 6 grades, at the end of the 6th grade, I hope you're a saver. In those first 6 grades, you're in anxiety. Your skill level is very small. And you're saying to yourself, how do I do this? If someone's trying to teach you strategies about how to protect and leverage at that point, most likely you tune out. The second 6 grades are the protection and leverage. At that point, you really need to understand some strategies about money management, because you have some money to manage. And now your job is to grow it. If you take the income that you have today and you add a 0 to it. That's basically how much money you need for your future. So that that pot of money can sit over there and pay you 10%, and you can walk away from your job. Does that make sense? So if you think in your head today of how much money that you have set aside, and you compare it to your salary with a 0, that's going to give you a real quick glimpse of, remember when he had the description up here where he said the problem was what was in the middle? That's your challenge, okay? So if you have assets sitting in IRAs and RRSPs, and they're not growing at a 12% rate of return, they're not helping to solve your challenge. The next step is management, and that's when you get proficient in money. That's when you can start to think of giving it away. That's when your strategies are working. That's when you are informed and knowledgeable about markets, whether it's the real estate market, the stock market. That's when everything is working for you. There are 4 things that you need money for. The first is transition money. That's some money that you have stashed away in case something happens in your life. As I just mentioned before, I had no clue that I was going to be going through a second divorce. I had no clue that he would meet the girlfriend on the scuba boat and need to go marry her. It was a shock to me. But for 60% of us in marriage, these kind of things happen. So it doesn't matter who or what your circumstances are, you are individually responsible for your money. Now, I made a decision, I have a real strong passion for seeing women take hold of this. I made a decision that I was going to be a girl with cash. You see, today, I go to work, I have a beautiful house. It is the house that I would choose. I go to work in what's known as a castle. It's an office building that I own. I have multiple other properties, but it wasn't always that way. Okay? It wasn't. It took conviction and courage. How many warriors do we have here? Aha! It took warrior spirit. When all this happened and the judge looked at me and he just expected, okay, we'll just divide up this property. I was like, no, you'd be so wrong. I said to him, I'll never forget the look on his face. I said, when this is done, I'm going to own all 5 pieces of property. And he looked at me like I've never heard a woman say that to me before. It was such a shock. But you have to have that feeling about your money. You know, after I graduated from college, I went out to look for a job. I got my first job, right? What did I have? I had blue jeans. Could I go to work in my blue jeans? No. What did I buy? Basic, okay? Basic black, things that if I wore several times, nobody would know, right? Down the road, I might have added an accessory. There was a point where I evaluated my clothes closet, sent some things to the thrift shop, and replaced them with a few things, right? I never, ever got rid of my clothes closet. I was not going to run around naked. The same is true of your financial closet. That is as important to your well-being as thinking of yourself running around naked on the streets. But many people give up their clothes closets. The second piece is spending money. That's the amount of money that you spend on a regular basis to support your lifestyle.